Imagine this. You board a plane for a short flight, say from New York to Miami. You settle into your seat, buckle up, and take off on a clear, sunny day. The next thing you know, you're landing, but when the doors open, it's not Miami, and it's not the same year. 37 years have passed, and you haven't aged a single day. This is the chilling story of Pan Am Flight 914, one of the most baffling aviation mysteries of all time. Did a plane full of people actually travel through time? Our story begins on a seemingly ordinary day, July 2nd, 1955. Pan American Airways Flight 914, a Douglas DC-4 aircraft, is on the tarmac at New York's JFK Airport, ready for its routine flight to Miami, Florida. On board are 88 passengers and 4 crew members, all anticipating a quick, sunny getaway. The weather is perfect, pre-flight checks are complete, and the plane takes off without a hitch. For the first hour, everything is normal. The pilot maintains steady radio contact with air traffic control. But then, somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean, the unimaginable happens. Flight 914 simply vanishes. One moment, it's a clear blip on the radar screen. The next, it's gone. Air traffic controllers frantically try to re-establish contact, but there's only static. No distress signal was ever sent, no mayday call. The plane, along with the 92 souls on board, has disappeared as if it dissolved into thin air. Immediately, one of the largest search and rescue operations in aviation history is launched. The U.S. Coast Guard, Navy, and civilian aircraft scour thousands of square miles of the Atlantic. They search for any sign of wreckage, an oil slick, or floating debris. Days turn into weeks, and weeks into months. Nothing, not a single piece of the aircraft is ever found. How could a massive DC-4 airliner vanish without a trace on a clear day? For the families of the passengers and crew, it's a living nightmare. They are left in a state of agonizing uncertainty, clinging to the slimmest of hopes. But as the years pass with no answers, that hope fades. The airline, Pan American, eventually closes the case. The passengers and crew of Flight 914 are officially declared deceased. The world moves on, and the tragic disappearance of the flight becomes a forgotten footnote in aviation history, or so it seemed. Fast forward 37 years. The date is March 9th, 1992. The location is the Air Traffic Control Tower at Simon Bolivar International Airport in Caracas, Venezuela. It's a busy day, but everything is running smoothly until an unidentified blip appears on the radar. It's an aircraft, but it's not on any of the scheduled flight plans. It doesn't have a transponder signal, which is standard for all modern planes. The controllers are puzzled, maybe even a little annoyed. Is this some pilot playing a prank? As the aircraft gets closer, they realize it's an old propeller plane, a model they haven't seen in commercial service for decades. It's a Douglas DC-4. The controllers establish radio contact, and what they hear next sends a shiver down their spines. The pilot's voice is filled with panic and confusion. He radios in, "This is Pan Am Flight 914 en route from New York to Miami. We have 92 people on board. Can you give us our location?" The control tower is in stunned silence. Pan Am Flight 914. That flight disappeared 37 years ago. The air traffic controller, a man named Juan de la Corte, cautiously replies, asking the pilot to identify his destination again. The pilot's voice crackles back, laced with growing anxiety. "We are scheduled to land at Miami International Airport at 9:55 a.m. on July 2, 1955. Juan looks at his calendar. It's March 9, 1992. He cautiously informs the pilot, "Sir, you are over Caracas, Venezuela. Today's date is March 9, 1992. A long, heavy silence follows. You can almost feel the shock and disbelief radiating from the cockpit, hundreds of feet in the air. The pilot's breathing becomes heavy over the radio. "What are you talking about? 1992. That's impossible." Meanwhile, on the ground, airport staff and witnesses see the old aircraft circling. It bears the unmistakable logo of Pan American Airways, an airline that had gone bankrupt just a year earlier in 1991. The plane itself looks brand new, as if it just rolled off the assembly line. The controllers, trying to de-escalate a situation they can't possibly comprehend, clear a runway for the mysterious plane to land. Ground crews are dispatched to meet the aircraft. The landing is smooth, perfect. For a moment, it seems like this impossible event will have a safe conclusion, but as the ground crew approaches the DC-4, they hear the pilot over the radio shouting, "No, stay back, we're leaving now." Through the cockpit window, ground staff could see the terrified faces of the passengers. Their faces pressed against the glass, looking out at a world that was utterly alien to them. They see modern jet engines, futuristic airport vehicles, and people dressed in strange clothes. Before anyone can stop it, the pilot of Flight 914 revs the engines. The propellers roar back to life, and the massive plane powers down the runway, taking off with incredible speed. It climbs back into the sky and disappears into the clouds, just as mysteriously as it arrived. Air Force jets were scrambled to intercept it, but they found nothing. Once again, Flight 914 had vanished from radar, leaving behind a tower full of bewildered controllers and a runway full of stunned witnesses. And something else. As the ground crew cautiously inspected the spot where the plane had briefly touched down, they found a single peculiar object lying on the tarmac. It was a small, pocket-sized calendar. The year printed on it, 1955. So, what really happened? Is this story true? This is where the mystery deepens. If you search for official records from the FAA or NTSB, you'll find no mention of Pan Am Flight 914 ever disappearing. Pan American Airways' own archives contain no record of the flight, the incident, or the crew. Skeptics are quick to point out that the story originated in a tabloid newspaper, the Weekly World News, which was famous for publishing sensational and fictional stories. They claim the entire narrative, including the names of the air traffic controllers and the specific dates, was fabricated for entertainment. They argue that there are no official documents, no verifiable eyewitnesses outside of the tabloid's account, and no corroborating evidence from Venezuelan aviation authorities. The photo, often associated with the story, showing a DC-4 with a chunk missing, is actually from a completely different, well-documented crash. The entire story, they say, is a modern urban legend, a work of fiction that has been repeated so many times it has taken on a life of its own. But then, the believers fire back. They ask, how could such a detailed account be completely made up? They point to alleged leaked transcripts from the Caracas control tower and supposed testimony from airport workers who were sworn to secrecy. They argue that governments and aviation authorities have a vested interest in covering up an event that defies all known laws of physics and time. A plane that jumps forward 37 years. That's a reality-shattering event that would cause mass panic and chaos. A cover-up, they claim, would be the only logical response. Could Flight 914 have entered some kind of time slip or a wormhole? A temporary rift in the fabric of space-time that transported the plane and its passengers decades into the future. To the people on board, the journey would have felt instantaneous. They took off in 1955 and landed just a few hours later, completely unaware that for the rest of the world, nearly 4 decades had passed. Their brief, terrifying encounter in 1992 was just a glimpse into a future they were never meant to see before being pulled back into their own time, or perhaps somewhere else entirely. Is the plane still out there, flying endlessly through time? A ghost flight caught between moments, its passengers forever trapped in 1955. The official story says it never happened. But for those who believe, Pan Am Flight 914 is a chilling reminder that there are some mysteries that science and records cannot explain. It's a story that forces us to question our understanding of time, reality, and what might be lurking just beyond the clouds. What do you think? Is it a brilliant piece of fiction or evidence of a real-life time travel event that was successfully covered up? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.